35 is this one right here.
There's like a lot of shadow.
Good. Is he good? Testing, testing, 1 2, 1 1 2, testing, 1 2 1 2, testing, 1 2 1 2. Good.
Is he Mike too?
I'm Mike.
Okay. Who's Craig?
Correct. Yes.
Will you have him talk?
Craig is.
Yeah,
Mike 23. And Nicole is going to get PSTV Mike 24, which is Mike 5.
Oh, I see. So the song.
check, check. Hello, hello.
Okay.
Check.
Okay.
Hi. Yes.
So tell me, what year did you graduate?
20.
please welcome your host of the evening show, Chris Sparano.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the evening show. As you can see today, this monologue is a little bit different than last time because, well, the lighting's just not being nice to me. Also, we were supposed to have animals on, but...
Hey, whoa. You know, with what you're saying right there, I gotta say, I was driving down the road earlier today and I saw them.
Saw what?
Live apples. I could not believe it.
Live apples?
Yeah. I've never seen anything like it.
You've never seen a live apple in your life?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I had no idea that round things could actually grow on trees.
Well, I gotta say, this is the first time I've seen somebody that doesn't know what an apple is. Oh boy, what else? Well, you know, Nick, I was watching the other day a show on the History Channel called Alone. You ever see it?
Is it similar to 90 Days or?
No, it's not. It's like a wilderness show. So how it works is someone stays out in the wilderness for over a month, and they get paid a big wad of money if they're out the longest. But the amount of, like, the people just go absolutely berserk on there. You know, with food.
So this is pretty much the equivalent of a freshman in college.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. But I was just sitting there and I'm going, guys, why do you do this? You can enjoy nature with a hotel, a flat screen TV, a bottle of Chardonnay, and a hot tub. You can.
So in other words, just somebody else watching the show.
Yes, essentially. But you see, that's the thing, Nick. It's called glamping. I've done it before. Glamping's good. You don't get bitten by bugs. You have AC. You take a shower. You don't have to worry about sleeping on dirt. It's a pleasure.
I'm just really hoping that I heard you correctly, but...
Okay. Well, at any rate, we're going to have a bunch of special guests for you tonight. We have Rebecca Harmon and Craig Lonigan coming up along with his two sons. So stay with us after these messages.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. Are you gonna vote?
Absolutely.
Did you know that the first time a black man could vote was in 1868?
Really? That's over 150 years ago. What about black women?
The first time any woman could vote was 1920.
Really? I can't believe that.
Did you know your grandparents couldn't vote when they were your age? They had to wait till they were 21. That was messed up. All of our voices matter.
Go vote. It's easy. Your voice matters.
That's great.
All right. Our first guest tonight is quite an interesting fellow. He was a social studies teacher, a paper worker, a counselor, or a residence counselor, and a guidance counselor. Would you please welcome our first guest, Mr. Craig Lonigan. All right. So, Craig, how have you been?
Not too bad
Yeah?
so far.
You've been doing good?
Yeah.
All right. So yesterday, me and you were speaking, and we were talking about your life at Plattsburgh, and you graduated here in 1967. So tell me what life was like at that point.
Actually, it was 1966.
1966, okay.
Yeah, and when I first arrived at Plattsburgh, I took my classes, and it was my freshman year, and I didn't think too much of it. But in the following fall, I was attending class in the old annex outside of Hopkins Hall. On the back side, there were military surplus annexes that they used to have classes in.
Right.
And I was taking a course from Dr. Light, and it was the regular class, and it was a psychology class. And it was November the 22nd in 1963. And I'm there in class, and somebody came in and kind of disrupted the class a little bit and went over to Professor Light and had a few words with him. And then he turned around and left. And Dr. Light got up and addressed the class and said that President Kennedy had been shot.
Wow.
It was November the 22nd, 1963. And we were all in awe and dumbfounded that what was happening. And when Dr. Light addressed the class and he told us what was happening, and then he said, we're excusing the class for the day.
Wow.
And go back to wherever you came from, and I'm sure that you'll be guided in what other events come up. And it turned out when going back to the dorm that the college classes all were canceled. That the students were allowed to go home wherever they were from if they wanted to, or they could stay in the dorm. But it was a profound thing that was happening before our eyes. And so I went home that Thanksgiving vacation, and my parents were there, my family, and we watched the funeral procession on television and discussed it and whatever. And it was the beginning of a whole series of things that happened during that era. That was, after this, it was a couple years later that Bobby Kennedy became senator in New York State. And
he got assassinated too, right? In
Right.
1968.
right,
Yeah.
and he was, but he was representing the state and came to Plattsburgh State, and by then I was an RA in the building, in the dorm, and I was involved in student government. And because of that, I guess they thought that I knew a little bit about the location of classes and that kind of thing. In those days, the college was much smaller. The major building was Hawkins Hall. The major dorm was McDonough. Was living in Kent Hall, the low-rise dorms. There weren't any high-rise dorms at that time. And I McDonough was in another one of those dorms in which you now live.
Yep. And Nick currently lives there too. Nick, you live on what, the third floor?
Yeah, I'm over, third floor, top area.
Third floor, yeah. I'm on first. Yep.
And I was an RA on the bottom floor after I came back from student teaching, and for that the rest of the semester. But it was, I was asked to show President Angel of Plattsburgh and Bobby Kennedy around Hawkins Hall and Ward Hall, and to lead them around campus and discuss a little bit about student life on campus. And so I spent 2 hours with Bobby Kennedy, and at the end, when we left, President Angel had to go back to his office. So Bobby Kennedy and myself were alone, and he said, asked me about what I was going to do when I graduated and whatever, and he told me that if you ever want a job, if you come to Washington, I can get you one.
Oh my God.
And
Wow.
like a typical naive student, I already had my own plans of what I was going to do, and I never really followed up on it.
I mean, that's quite an honor to be offered a job by Bobby Kennedy.
Right.
You know.
And so then it was shortly thereafter that Bobby Kennedy was also assassinated.
Yeah.
And that, again, really impressed me, and it was a profound thing. I was taking an English course from Dr. Harlan, and our assignment was to debate whether tragedy could exist,
Yeah.
and what is tragedy, and whatever. And I brought up the factor that of the Kennedys, and I thought that that was a tragedy. But then after that, Teddy Kennedy comes along, his brother, and Teddy goes off a bridge in Chappaquiddick, and Joanne Kopechne dies in the accident. Teddy Kennedy swims to shore. He later is brought to up to court to clear the air about whether he was in the wrong, leaving the scene of the accident and whatever. And so there again was another addition to this tragedy
Yeah.
of things that were happening.
And you have to remember too, John F. Kennedy Jr. died, I believe, in a plane crash.
Right.
It was. So it's very bizarre. It's a long string of misfortune and events between
Right.
in the family.
And even shortly thereafter, I think it was, I forgot what year it was, but Teddy Kennedy contracted cancer of the brain, and he died at the age of 77. And again, he was taken to Arlington, buried alongside his brothers, and a continuing part of this whole tragedy. Wow. So that was a big part of us students in the 60s, and going through college, thinking about what was going to happen when we got through school and whatever, and I have some other things related to that. I don't know if you're going to cut here for.
Sure. I think we have 2 more minutes left before we cut to the ad.
Okay, before you do that, one of my friends when I was in college was Ralph Manners, and Ralph was from Long Island. He also lived in Kent Hall. He was one of my fraternity brothers. He was friends with the Chapman brothers, who were singers,
Yes, you
and
told me
also attended Plattsburgh State, and I was friends of theirs. Harry Chapman was a famous singer.
Of course.
Harry
Constant
was
Cradle.
killed on the Long Island Expressway in an auto accident. He, Ralph asked my advice one time in the student union at McDonough, and he was thinking about joining the Air Force and becoming a pilot. And he recently had been married. So do you want me to
All right.
continue this?
Well, we're going to cut to a break, but we're going to hear more from Craig after these messages. Stay with us.
Nick Benardot. Nick Benardot.
I'm Angel Velasquez.
And I'm Benny Nazai.
I'm Jody Juliana Powell.
I'm Pat Pfeiffer.
Jorge Cabrera.
Jamie Goodrow.
And I'm Joe Mason.
I'm Marcel Gibbs.
I'm Zeb Ducharme.
I'm Ryan Nesta.
I'm Bruce Juno.
No Seals. Thank you. This has been Edward Balarjan.
I'm Rashida Pandey.
I'm Quasi Gittins. I'm John Carduello.
To stay up to date with PS News and all of Plattsburgh State TV, be sure to follow Plattsburgh State TV on all social media platforms.
That looks like my barn.
Okay, and we're back with more from Craig Lonigan. Now, Craig, you said you had your two sons up here, and they're
Yes.
with us tonight.
Yeah.
So would you guys want to come on up?
Yep.
Here, take a seat, fellas. Yes.
Hi.
All righty. All right, so these are Craig's two sons, Michael and Patrick, both of which are both alumni here from Plattsburgh. So, Mike, we'll start with you. What did you major in?
I studied special ed, and I graduated with my master's in 2014.
Wonderful. And what about you, Patrick? What did you major in?
I was a sociology major. I also took a lot of classes in human development, family relations, and I graduated in 2018.
Excellent. Now, Craig, you said when we had met that one time that you had a lot of family members in Plattsburgh, and actually you had a field that was named after one of your relatives, or dedicated more or less.
Yeah, my cousin Tom Cummings, Chip Cummings is his name, and Chip Cummings Field is named after him here in Plattsburgh. And Chip went to school in the 50s, and he also was a education major. By the way, I was in the first liberal arts class at Plattsburgh State. It was an education school up until my class. But what was I talking about?
Chip Cummings.
Oh, Chip Cummings.
Oh,
Yeah.
Chip Cummings.
Cummings, yep.
Yeah, and Chip graduated, became a school administrator, and became the president of New York State School Administrators Association. Financial, his specialty was finance, educational finance. And he went to work in Canajoharie, New York, but then he also started to analyze people's school budgets and also state aid. And he managed to get quite a few schools in New York State more state aid. And along with that, he got a certain percentage for his pay. And so he acquired quite a lot of money. And so he took some of his money and he donated it to Plattsburgh State so that they could build Chip Cummings Field. And I was there for the inauguration of the field. He was also a baseball player while he was in college and was inducted into the Plattsburgh State Hall of Fame. And that was quite an honor to the family.
Yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
when did he get honored? When did he get when did he get inducted into the Hall of Fame?
It was only about of course, I'm losing my concept of time because I have been out of school and retired. My 80th birthday is coming up.
No kidding.
In
Congratulations.
November the 14th.
Oh, it's coming up.
So 20 years is like a snap of your fingers. And so it was before that, and it was out on the Chip Cummings field. They had a big
2005,
ceremony.
I think.
Yeah,
2005?
2005. So that was quite the thing.
Yeah.
I know Tom, I spoke with Tom Chapman before, and he was not only a singer, but he was honored by the school here and given his honorary doctorate in music. And Tom was also a basketball player at Plattsburgh State. He graduated from high school in Brooklyn. He never played basketball on a team until he came to Plattsburgh, and then he became an all-star, and he's in the Hall of Fame. And he also has made a life of the music business.
Sure.
Along with his brothers and his father, whatever. They used to give hootenannies here on a regular basis to the student body. And so also in that group was this guy, Ralph Manners, who played the banjo.
That's right.
And Ralph, I don't know, you could...
Oh, yeah.
You can
show it right up to the camera. Yep.
If you can get an idea of that shot. And Ralph graduated with me in the first liberal arts class in Plattsburgh State. And he decided that he was going to go in the Air Force as a pilot. And we were in the student union at McDonough, and he saw me and we had a discussion. And he asked me, he knew that I also had expressed an interest in joining the service as a pilot. I had been teaching school in Beekmantown. I left teaching in anticipation of being drafted or something along those lines. And when I went for my physical to be inducted, I had a knee injury in high school football and torn my knee and the meniscus in my knee and whatever, and so I failed the physical. Yeah. And so then also I had kind of kept it quiet that I had a problem like that, figuring that I could get by with not being right up front with the service.
Sure.
And so the next thing, I get my draft notice, and I go, and then I had everything written up, and I avoided it. But to make a long story short, Ralph asked me what I did for my advice, and I went through all the different angles of going into the Air Force, or yeah, it was in the Air Force, and I said that, well, Ralph, by the time you get through basic training and flight school, this whole war will be over with. That's such a small country. And it turned around that it stretched out for a period of 4 years.
Sure.
And Ralph got through pilot school. The first time that he took off in Vietnam, he was shot down and killed.
I'm sorry for your loss.
And
yeah.
When I read this, it is what the service puts out. And in here it says he died at the age of 23. And he had recently been married. His co-pilot was another younger guy who had 5 kids, and he died and leaving 5 kids. And so I later on went into guidance counseling in school, and one of the things I learned from this was that to never really, to be right up front when you're giving advice. Give all angles.
Definitely.
Don't hide a thing, and don't make a judgment based upon you. It's up to that person to make up their minds. And so Ralph is no longer here. He also is in Arlington, right? You can look from his grave right across and see the eternal light of John Kennedy's grave and Bobby Kennedy and Ted Kennedy's grave. So that was the kind of thing that people in our generation in the 60s lived with all the time. And I remember when he was shot and I was coming out of class and all the bombers at Plattsburgh Air Base took off one right after the other. Every bomber on the base was in the air within a half hour. And right overhead, you could see the bombers and the noise and the racket.
That's incredible.
And all that. So
yeah.
These kinds of things were the unique situation that we had as college students.
Yeah, and I think, you know, in harsh times like that, you know, all those experiences do help shape you throughout your life. You know, they kind of help you to become who you are today.
Yeah.
You know, that's an incredible story, though, and I think you have a few items you want to show us tonight, right?
Yeah.
Well, we can.
Did we get them? We've got them somewhere. I have an antique shop.
Yeah,
this is where I met you.
That's right.
And
yeah.
And we.
It's fantastic too.
I had a big statue of Champlain Monument there, and they talked about the monument, and so that is right in Lake in Champlain, and
You want to start with that?
yeah, yeah. Here's this is Cardinal 1938 yearbook, and in this yearbook is my father, who went to Plattsburgh State, and my mother, and also my grandmother, who went to the normal school. And when it was a 2-year college just for education. And my mother was from Long Island and came to school here. She played the trumpet over the radio in Montreal. Whatever, she met my father in Hawkins Hall, and they were married. So my father was on the basketball team at Plattsburgh, and at that time, all the courses, the student union, everything was in the Hawkins Hall. The basketball court,
sure, the
whole thing. And there was no, McDonough Hall, I think, was the only door.
Yep.
And so then
I think
later.
It was a mansion at one time too. Prior to when it became a dorm, it was a mansion that people had.
Yeah. So that's where the student union was. Tom Chapman put on hootenannies down there. It was really quite the thing. So they're mixed in with all the drama and agony of current events was the mixed in with that was the joy of other things like these hootenannies that occurred. And I kind of thinking right off the top of my head, what are students in college thinking about now? And it just happens that the day after tomorrow is election day. And what they've had time to spend on a daily basis watching the news and the presenting of all different sides of the what's happening in our country, our what's happening to our democracy, and things like this. And I would say that I don't know, like when I graduated, I was involved with Plattsburgh over 60 years ago, and my 80th birthday is coming, and that somebody in the future will look back, maybe be on a show like yours, and be asked what was it like, and it's going to be one of turmoil, of suspense, that here we are in our country having these kinds of events going on, but we are strong, and we will be dealing with it.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, whether it be the era that you lived in or the era that we're living in, it's one of those things that it's hard to grasp. You know, it's hard to grasp everything that's going on because, first of all, things are coming back and forth so fast, but it's all of this things coming at you at once as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know,
we had no phones, we had no spectrum, we had no Wi-Fi. And when I was a student, today you get instantaneous information. On your phone, you have as much information as Feinberg Library.
Sure.
You know, it's amazing. I taught school, and I don't know if I would want to be back where I would sign a paper and somebody'd say, what's the title of the paper that you want? And you give them the title and they type it into their phone. And then all of a sudden it prints out the paper.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing.
And that's the thing I think that we lost, that we lost in this generation, is knowing how to use a library, knowing how to research and find books to get information. Because again, like what you said, everything's all at our fingertips.
Yeah.
Which, if you're in a rush, it's beneficial. But you know, if you really want to become educated, books is the way to go.
Believe it or not, I just had some people come in to my antique shop asking if I had any dictionaries.
No kidding.
And, you know, they can't find a dictionary.
Really?
You know, it's amazing. So, you know, it's not only the use of how to use a dictionary, but also how to spell, how to use a thesaurus, and things like that. Today it's very simple to do these kinds of things.
All right.
And maybe it's good for the better, because I know, here's a good example, I had heart surgery not too long ago, and I had bypass surgery, and everything was done on a computer.
Right.
And everything, and I'm fine.
Now, Craig, we're going to have to cut to a break, but we're going to be hearing more from Craig and his sons after these messages, and we're going to be looking at some of the items that they brought. So stay with us.
Spicy was created in order to give us Caribbeans a way of expressing ourselves. In the Caribbean, there's multiple ways of showcasing talent and dancing is one of them.
We have a bunch of different ethnicities and everything in here, so it's a Caribbean dance team, so we definitely are inspired by the Caribbean dance hall and stuff like that, and all different types of Caribbean dancers.
We go out together, like even if we're going to a party, they play our song, we'll do it together. Like, but we do like a lot of fun stuff together, like, you know what I'm saying, outside of Spicy. And it's just really like us, like we are like a family, like it is.
There's so many different personalities on the team.
Giving very much family.
Vibrant. Joking, like we joke a lot.
Spicy will accept you, and it's just a great team. So if you're looking to join, then yeah.
Okay, well, I actually lost track of time. So our next guest tonight is the district manager of the Antique and Variety Mall. Would you please welcome Rebecca Harmon and her coworker Nicole?
We'll get you in a second. Okay, so tell them the mic's not ready.
Okay.
So I should have put this
Alrighty.
Hello.
Hey, Becky. All right. Alrighty, Becky.
Now I know where you.
Now you know who I am, huh?
See, we got two fellow antique people here. You guys are going to get along just fine. But so Becky, you're the district manager of the Antique and Variety Mall.
And furniture decor.
And furniture decor, yes.
Yes.
So how did you get that job position?
I retired early from my other job. I worked for Clinton County,
okay.
ARC for 25 years at a
Wow.
very young age. Was planning on being a nurse, but then changed my job title and went over into direct care. And then I retired after 25 years and went down to Texas and stayed with my son for a couple years and said, oh, I'm bored. I'm too young. And then I went and came back home, and I always liked antiques on the side, so I always sold antiques on the side. Probably one of the first Facebook people to sell on Facebook.
No kidding.
Yeah, I always had fun doing it. And then I went and asked Steve Brody if he had anything to do for a couple days a week. He put me down in the downstairs at the Antique Variety Mall and worked there a couple of days. And one day he came in and he said, "You're it." And I'm like, "What do you mean I'm it?" He's like, "Well, you're in charge of everything." And that's the way it went.
He just handed you the job.
I had no cashier's experience, not really much experience with sales or anything.
You know, sometimes the best way to do things is to just dive in head first, you know?
Yeah.
And just do it that way.
It took me a while to learn the computer system and how everything operated, and from there, and his dream was always to build like a whole fleet of antique stores and have them. And we are open in number 5 over on Brinkerhoff Street. It should be open probably within the next month.
Wonderful. And
Yeah.
that's the 5th antique shop?
That's the 5th one.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
We started at 12 Margaret Street with Antique Variety Mall, and then we moved and opened a shop at 2 Margaret Street, which is Furniture Decor 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then we opened a shop up on 315 Cornelia Street. It's right next to Michigan Plus and Nelson's Flower Shop.
Yes, that's on the main.
Yep.
The main.
That's on the
strip,
main
yeah.
drag. And then we opened 86 Margaret Street, and we called that Furniture Decor 2. And it's like a live and learn as you go, because really we should have probably called them all different names because they all kind of represent themselves.
Yeah, it's like a small local chain.
Yeah.
That sort of deal.
And then the Merchant Bank was empty for I don't know how many years. The Merchant Bank on Brinkerhoff was empty. And Steve's been renovating that for the last 6 months, trying to get it up and running, and ran into a lot of little difficulties, but I think he's got it down pat, and
good.
That's going to be the Vintage Vault.
The Vintage Vault?
Yep, that's
wow.
the name of that one's going to be.
And how many antique vendors do you expect to be in there? Do you
well,
have a
we
approximate
built
number?
a 3rd floor. So we
wow.
There's going to be the downstairs, then the main floor, and then it's like a memories around the whole around the top.
Wow, so it's going to be like a full-size antique mall.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Thrifting. I don't even call antiques so much antiques because there's so much these younger kids are looking for so much newer stuff.
Newer stuff.
Yeah, vintage clothing and a lot of stuff that, you know.
Sure. Yeah, one of the things that's coming really into fashion now is mid-century decor.
Yes.
That became huge. Like when I was growing up about 10 years ago, you know, it wasn't worth anything. I mean, you would find this stuff at thrift shops. And now, just within these past couple of years, the market just skyrocketed through the roof.
Yes,
I look
it
on
has.
eBay and antique shops, and some of the prices of these things I just can't believe. But whatchamacallit. So you also have some items that you wanted to show us too, right?
Yeah, and my sons took off.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Becky's, so we'll bring out Craig's, but Becky's also has hers behind set. So I'm just going to scooch back here a moment.
When I came in here, Becky was said, I didn't know who she was, and she said that she had been in my shop, and then now I realize that I've been in your shop.
Yeah, many times we've been in each other's shop.
And so it's kind of neat that we're here together and both involved in the antique business or whatever. So
now I see a plate here. What is that? Could you tell me about it?
well, I was going to talk about the earlier parts of Plattsburgh State, and we now know that Clinton Community College is merging or is coming into onto the Plattsburgh campus.
Right. You told me. I think you told me that once.
And before it has come here, when I was in college, it was Bellarmine College, a Jesuit college. And even before that, it was the Hotel Champlain. And the Hotel Champlain was the original organizing place for the Champlain celebration of the 1609 discovery of Lake Champlain by Samuel D. Champlain. And I had in my collection of things this plate, which has Samuel D. Champlain, has Plattsburgh, New York, and 1609 under Champlain, and it's here. And I was asked to bring in something
stunning.
Some things
really
that
pretty.
are related to the early life at Plattsburgh, and this was a part, seeing that Clinton now is being more involved with Plattsburgh College itself. So, and I don't know what else.
What else did they bring?
I think you guys had a picture frame.
Yeah, they had
back
a picture,
there, didn't you?
Picture frame.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
Yeah, and this I had discussed with you one of the earlier.
I could move this.
One of the earlier periods of time was before the air base, and this was, you all know probably, where the old military buildings are out on heading towards Mitzi's, Red Hots, and that area, and the Army were stationed there during World War I, and this is a view of a couple regiments that are outside in the field, And in the background, you can see the buildings that are still there today. So this was an older part of Plattsburgh, and kind of a lead up to later on when the air base is there, and all the things that revolved around the air base. Like, and when the air base was there, they were kind of intertwined with the students at Plattsburgh State. We used to go to Brody's out there, which was a bar, and the airmen would date the Plattsburgh girls, and it was quite a relationship at the time. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was Army, and then it turned into Air Force after.
Yeah.
Yep.
Years
and
ago.
the Plattsburgh Airport, that used to be, was that the military base?
No, the military base was downtown, well, when you go down to where the railroad station is.
Yes. Yep.
You turn right, just past the railroad station. You go over and you'll come into the complex of brick buildings that are all around. And when you come in to Plattsburgh from the south on Route 22, or
Route 22.
Route 22, you'll see those buildings are right there along the way. So so Plattsburgh has been a military place for a long time, right from Samuel D. Champlain, right up through the War of 1812, the Battle of Plattsburgh and Plattsburgh Bay, the Battle of Valcour Island and the Revolutionary War. And all of this is tied together with Canada, Plattsburgh, down the entire length of Champlain, Vermont, Ticonderoga, Mount Independence, Mount Defiance, Mount Hope, and whatever, and it goes right down to the rest of New York State. And this is another thing that many people don't know, that the Quebec means where the river narrows, and the St. Lawrence narrows off the island of Orleans and comes together, and it was navigable up until that point by ocean-going ships. During World War II, German subs used to surface off the Isle of Orleans, and they come into shore and dance with the French girls in their bars in Quebec. And it turned out that the people there had the same feelings about the French as they did the English. So,
all right.
So it didn't make much difference. So.
Craig, I hate to cut you off there, man, but we're going to cut to a break, and we're going to hear more from Craig and Becky after these messages. And Nicole, so stay with us.
Knowledge. You're like a...
Pricey was created in order to give
That looks like my barn.
Okay, and we're back. So Becky, you and Nicole had brought some items here to show us. So which one do you want to take a look at first?
Oh, is it which bag is it?
your bag.
Okay.
That's your bag.
All right, so most of the items here are just kind of how things has changed.
Okay.
It used to be Antique Variety Mall, used to be all antiques. Now we've come in to a lot of younger, different, and they collect different. They collect different than what Mr. Logan would collect it, from different than what I would, till generations down through. It seems like it's changed.
Sure.
This is quite interesting because we have noticed a lot of kids are collecting, well, I say young adults.
Young adults, yes.
Are collecting
Let's see here.
these things. They're like
Oh
the
my-
old sneakers.
Wow.
Yeah, the old Nike Air sneakers that,
Air Jordans.
yep, they grew up with.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
those when I was a kid.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
that's popular for your age, and
Sure.
that you remember them as you were a kid, and that's one item.
Here, let's show that to the camera, shall we?
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
No, not at all.
So, yep, this is a Nike Air Jordan, and you can see the label right on the side. So, that is a very nice shoe. I should buy that from you. They look comfy.
And it's just the antiques in general. It's kind of changed the collecting of things. You know, I just bought in some different stuff, like the license plates, and
All right.
you know, a lot
license-
of some things are common. You got the katana swords.
Let's see here. So this is
That is.
a California license plate. This is what you would see in California, not New York, but California.
California, yeah.
Okay. What else do we have
And these
here?
are katana swords. A lot of people like to carry them and have them displayed in their room, and
Katana
younger
swords.
generations into
Oh,
that.
that's
It's not
stunning.
sharp, so
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about that.
Now tell me a bit about this. Is this just for decor, or is it
Just for decor.
Just for
It's
decor.
Just sets up something to
Just-
set in the room. It
just
has a little stand
to
that
hang on
comes
the- on
with
the
it, and
wall.
just hangs on the wall.
That is
And then we
stunning.
got the
Let's see.
vinyl records.
Oops, I don't want to hit your head. So you can see there's a little bit a dragon on the
Yeah, it's
swords
pretty
printed
cool.
on there. It's stunning. Yeah. All right. Let's see. What else do we got here?
Vinyl records. That seems to be the hottest thing lately with a lot of
Vinyl
at
records.
Peter Frampton. There's some history with
Peter Frampton. That's right. He
Yeah.
performed
Do you know
here.
the history?
Yep, 1975 at the hockey arena. And someone's going to have to correct me to say which one, but yeah, he did perform here in 1975. And actually, we have the original reel hanging
Oh,
up
do
on
you
the wall.
really?
Yep.
Oh, how cool is that?
So, yeah,
Yeah.
Peter Frampton.
Yeah.
He has good. He has good songs.
He
I
does
listen
have
to
good
him all
songs.
the time.
So I mean, you got some. You know, we try to reach out now to everybody that comes in.
Yeah, Judas
Yeah,
Priest
Judas
here.
Priest.
Let's see. When was this? 19. Wow, I didn't know they were that early. 1978. Huh?
Oh yeah, Judas Priest been around a
Yeah,
long time.
I always thought it was mid 80s. Huh. Wow. Let's see. Oh, here's a good one. Motley Crue. Yeah, that's an iconic band. These are fantastic albums you got
yeah,
here, huh?
they're in pretty mint shape too. On the inside, you take them out, they're not a scratch on them.
And
Them ones are
that's
good.
the amazing thing
Yeah.
about vinyl. They always work.
Yeah,
They always
do.
work. They never skip.
So then we're mixed now. We're not so many antiques now. Like I said, it's a mix, but we do have vendors that do have old stuff.
This is fun. I'm telling you, folks. This is like a show and tell.
Yeah, you get to tell me
Let's
what
see.
these are now.
now I'm gonna have to tell them. Okay, all right. You put me to the test then. These are nice earrings that you got here. Kind of what would you say, like a boho chic
Yep,
sort of thing?
bohemian,
Yep.
yeah.
Bohemian. Yep. And here's a little bit more fancy
Them are the bling.
earrings. Yep. Of
Yep.
course, you gotta have the bling.
Yeah.
The prom earrings. Exactly. Yeah. All right. What
Okay,
else
you
do we
can't
got
cheat
here?
on this one. You got to tell me what it is. It's listed, but don't look,
Oh,
look
I'm
at
not
the
gonna
name.
look. I'm not gonna look. Okay.
See if anybody can guess what it is.
It was obviously for cooking. That's the first guess.
Yeah, it is the kitchen.
I'm going to say it was used to make mashed potatoes.
Nope.
No? No mashed potatoes? Okay.
You want to guess?
What about you, Nick? What do you think?
I'm wondering if one of our former guests from episode 1 had some affiliation with that.
You think it's a potato chip machine? Something to make potato chips?
Possibly. Something to
Yeah.
do with the...
Nope.
Oh, wow.
What's it say?
Let's see here.
You'd be surprised.
A cheese cutter. Wow, look at that. Yeah, oh, well, you know what, though? That makes sense.
That
Because if
makes
you had a
sense,
block of
doesn't it?
cheese and then you could cut like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, then we have this little thing.
What always amazes me about kitchen utensils, you can still use them to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they're old, you can still use them. And they work just as...
Cheese cutter. Even if it is a cheese cutter, I'm still going with my gut feeling and saying that it's the
See,
potato chip.
Just keep it at potato chip. Why not?
This is a couple items hooked together, but they're separated. You can separate them.
Okay. Let's see here. Only I can not.
One's a can opener,
Yes,
an
one's a can
old-fashioned
opener.
can opener, and the other one's a tongs.
Okay, we'll
tongs.
see.
They're hooked.
Yes,
Vendor had them
you
hooked
can-
together because he's selling them
Let's
together.
see, oh, there it is. Yeah, you can see them.
I just thought I'd bring you some little gadgets, try to make you guess what they are.
I was looking at it going, huh? Like, what could that be?
Well,
but
we
yeah, that
have
makes
a lot
sense.
of old stuff too. You know, a lot of vintage stuff and things. But
Yeah.
I mean, I have fun with the younger stuff, younger crowd stuff. I get into the younger stuff.
Oh, you're making me feel old now. Green Day. Green Day.
Right, yeah, Green Day.
I grew up with this type of music. Jeez. Wow. Yeah, that brings back memories, huh? Oh my goodness. 2004, folks. I was born a year before this album.
That was the year for me. Year on the date.
Yeah, you were born in 2004. That's right. Okay. And what? Ooh, I'm gonna make a guess of what this is. It's an old ashtray.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And this looks like it's Oriental, right?
It's carved stone.
Carved stone. This is stunning. Look at that. That's. I keep looking at that camera. Yeah. Take a look at that, folks. Isn't that stunning? You have a nice lion on top. Then you have, you can see two rests here to put the cigarettes in, and then you got the tray for the ash. That is beautiful. Now, how old do you think this is?
The carved stone piece.
I would
probably
assume it's
maybe.
older.
I'm probably thinking 60s or 70s.
60s,
If I was to
70s.
guess.
Yeah.
If I was to guess.
All right. This is absolutely stunning. And what else do we have?
All kinds of interesting
All
stuff.
kinds.
And you
I don't know
mentioned
if
about
I-
old books. So here's some
All right,
books
there we
I
go.
just grabbed
Put 'em there.
off. And there's a couple of books.
Old books. Let's see.
And they are coming back into play. People are
So we're gonna
starting to
show
come in and look for
camera
books.
3.
The older books.
That's right. And Craig just said they're looking for dictionaries
Yep.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, so they tried to buy one off my desk the other day. I
print.
wouldn't, I
Wow.
wouldn't sell it to them.
So they want to take the prints, the old prints, out of the book,
Yeah.
put them in a frame, and sell them for twice as much.
Yeah, I wouldn't
As
give
the
up
book.
my old dictionary. It's one of the first ones, and it's about that thick, and I wasn't giving it up.
Yeah. It's amazing though that they're not really making them now. You know,
No,
it's
they
just
don't,
because
yeah.
just the age. It's unfortunate, but
I mean, the years in that book, I think they're
Oh, wow.
1800s, aren't they?
yep. Let's see. I've got to be careful with the paper now, but just carefully, I can show you a beautiful painting inside. I would definitely date it to around what 1880.
Yeah,
I would say.
I think there's a
1880,
date in the front of it there,
Should be a copyright.
like in the book itself. There's a
1850, 1851.
Yeah.
My goodness. Wow. You know, it's amazing that something lasts this long.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
think about it. It's well
And
over
so
150 years
fragile,
old
yeah,
and so
papers and-
fragile.
yeah.
You know, someone just must have kept this in a nice, safe area, and then, you know,
But I
it
am
just
seeing
lasted.
the younger generation come in and they're starting to collect books.
Yep.
They're starting to collect vintage clothes. They're starting to collect some of the stuff we did collect back then.
Sure.
It kind of went little ways away, but now it's coming back. So there's certain things. And
Yeah, we've got that at our store down at Furniture and Decor too. The vintage books, the vintage
vintage, yeah.
clothing. One of my vendors has 500 pieces
Really?
of vintage clothing in
Wow.
just one spot, one 10 by 10 spot.
Now, is it men's clothing or women's?
Mixture.
Mixture.
I actually have one of his jackets that
Do you have
is
one? Let's see.
in that box behind
do you have one of his jackets?
I
with you?
do have.
We don't have too much time left, but we'll
yeah,
definitely
just,
check
because
it out.
I just got. I'm
Let's
plenty.
see
I'm good.
Now, I'll put this up here with you. Let's see. You good holding it?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, we're just going to these aside.
Like we have, which is gonna really be like, okay, This is a little bit older than you, I'm sorry to say.
Nicole runs our youngest store, the last one. That's
Yes.
at 86 Margaret.
Yep.
I call it the Youngins because that's what it represents. Her
targets
store
the
is
younger
all,
people.
yes.
Yep.
But the old Charger starter jackets,
Wow.
these are
Yeah.
from the 90s.
Sure.
And I have kids from the college coming in looking for these.
And it looks like a good jacket too. I mean, it
The
seems very
qualities
insulated.
are, I mean, you can, the quality's good.
Oh, super thick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the graphics on the back, you know.
Now, this is a football team?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Which team is that?
Chargers.
The Chargers. Okay.
Which I believe are not around anymore.
I don't think I've ever heard of the Chargers.
I think one of them,
think so.
they've changed. But like we've got all different at our store, you know, we've got, here's a good one.
Oh, that looks like a concert tee, huh?
Yep.
Oh,
It's a
Steve
concert-
Miller Band.
Yep, the old concert T-shirts.
Summer of 1996.
Yep. He's got, I did not grab them, but he has a whole bunch of Grateful Dead t-shirts.
Really, Grateful Dead.
All on a wall,
Wow.
Grateful Deads. We
Now-
have at our store not only just vintage clothing, we've got people who do crafts at our store. We've got a local fireman who makes
Look at, oh, that's,
Oh,
golf
pretty
tee
cool.
holders.
Yeah.
I was looking at it going, huh, what, is it
Yeah,
a
golf tee
decoration? Or, that is really neat. And you can put it right on your belt.
Yeah, for just little handy things. Yeah.
All right. That is absolutely incredible. So, I think that concludes today's episode. Our next, which cam? Oh, there I am. I was like, which camera? Here I am. Yeah. So the next episode is going to take place on December 3rd, or December 2nd, excuse me. But I would like to thank all of my crew, our guests that came out tonight, Nick Baradat, Lauren Zito, and everyone that helped pitched in. So thank you all. Don't just have a good night. Have a great night. Thank you.
Good night. That was good.